Someone once, a very dear friend, again, said something to me once where I was having one of those days where I was like, oh, I gained weight, I feel like shit, I don't know why, no. And she said something to me that sticks with me till today.
Yeah.
She said, Hamza, your body has done so much for you.
Yeah. Be grateful.
Be kind to it.
True.
And I had that kind of like, moment, right? Where I was like, I've abused my body, man. I have abused my body.
All right, welcome back everyone to another episode of My Life Map podcast under the theme of Your Life, Your Shot. And today, before we begin with our guest, again sending a big shout out to Qutaifan Islands for having us in this amazing location, and for Urban Landscapes for providing us with this amazing cabin. So, my guest for today is a friend, a brother, um, very dear to my heart, who I got to know during a very difficult phase of my life. And he's been around since then. Um, I'm going to give him the opportunity to introduce himself, and today with me is my brother and friend Hamza. Hi, Hamza.
Hey, Joe.
Welcome on board
Thank you.
to My Life Map podcast. It's great to have you. And we usually give space at the start of any episode for our guests to introduce themselves in the best way that they would like to be introduced to the people.
Yeah.
Shoot.
I think, I would say I'm just like any other person on this planet. Just a normal human being who's done stuff in their life, achieved things in their life, progressed, moved backwards, struggled to find my ground at certain points in my life where it was like, do I want to do this? Do I want to do that? And there's a lot that's I've been through, in both good and bad,
Yeah.
which has led me to where I am today and who I am today.
Yeah.
And I think a big part of this has been my fitness journey.
Yeah.
Starting off all the way from when I was probably a 14, 15-year-old all the way till today.
Right.
And I think that's a very big part, and took a very big chunk of my life. And I think, like many other people, again, I'm not indifferent, because this is something that I see a lot of people go through, right? Where you start off wanting one thing and you're like, so I was, just to give you a background,
Yeah.
I was a very overweight child,
Right.
right? And, luckily, I wouldn't ever say that it kind of affected me negatively, or that, again, I got bullied because of it or anything like that. But obviously, it was a struggle being so young, quite, at the age of whatever it was, 10 or even younger than that, quite short at that age,
Yeah.
overweight. And it was just wobbling around kind of. And then, more than once I remember I'd made the intention that, yeah, you know what, I want to lose weight, and I want to look normal, is what I used to say, right? And
Yeah.
I remember I'd speak to my mom and I tell her, like, I wish I could just look like these kids. Like, I wish I could just look normal. And I remember specifically, I used to tell her, I wish I could have a jawline, right? I tell her, I wish, like, how people have jawlines? I just wish I could have a jawline. So yeah, and it all started from there, basically.
Wow. So just to give again, like, I just want people to get to know you, and we're gonna get to your fitness journey. So are you in the fitness industry today?
No, I am not.
Okay.
I am not. And it's a bittersweet feeling saying that, because, again, having said that it's been such a big part of my life, for me to be able to get to where I am today, which is not part of the fitness journey,
Yeah.
is still a battle sometimes, where I've associated so much with my identity that today, although, I've made huge progress to kind of leave that, I still do have times where I'm like, but I've always been fitness. I've always been that. I've been a personal trainer. I've competed. I've done all these things. So, to answer your question, no.
What do you do today?
I work in advertising, specifically in digital and social,
Okay.
which is what I've always done.
Right.
That was always like my full-time job, basically.
Yeah.
And I think that's what also made, made it more difficult to live that fitness lifestyle as well, where, I worked a 9 to 6, and at the same time, I had to make time daily. I was someone who trained 6 times a week, times where I trained twice a day, depending on if I was prepping for a competition or whatever it is. So balancing it out, which is something I'm, again, not very good at doing. I'm very extreme.
Yeah.
I either do it 100%, all in, or I don't, or I don't do it. So yeah, I'm in advertising today. Again, working in digital and social.
Okay.
And that's about it.
Okay. Like when you were talking, and it's interesting that you used the term normal.
Yeah.
And like you used to tell your mom, we sent her a big shout out. Hello.
Yeah, hi, Mom.
Hello, Mom. So I relate a lot to what you said because I was in that space. I was bullied. Um, Still sometimes indirectly get bullied.
Yeah.
Went through a phase of madness and extreme fitness.
Yeah.
Went through a phase of training twice a day. Went through a phase of
I've been there for some of that, so yeah, I can.
there you go, right?
Yeah.
It's just simply not allowing anything to come between me and my gym time. Like, khalas, gym time is gym time. You know what?
Yeah.
You don't want to deal with me. Don't.
Yeah.
I'm doing this. Yeah. But interestingly enough, like, you think that you're invulnerable when you get to that space where your health is great, everything is amazing, and then you discover that you're just as fragile as, I don't know, like as a glass that's dropped down, and then suddenly something happens and then everything collapses, and then you're like, wow.
I think you said fragile, and I think as powerful as it makes you feel or think you feel, right? I'm someone that would tell you it actually does more damage to you on the long run than it does make you feel powerful, right? Because, like I said, when you get into that mindset of extreme fitness, in reality, what happens is you associate everything in life to your body. Right? Your body is your everything. The way I look is, so whether I'm happy or upset is all about how I look. If I look in shape, if I don't look in shape. So yeah, I think it does more. It actually could, and again, I don't say will for everyone, because some people manage to balance it out and not. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not telling anyone. I'm not anti-fitness, and again, I don't rule it out, right? Like, again, being in where I am today, I still always know that I could potentially go back to it. Probably from learning, it wouldn't be hi, Ghost.
We have a guest today with us in the podcast. Ghost is with us.
So I definitely wouldn't go back into it as extreme as I always was. But I think if you do it the right way, there's a lot of good that comes from it. But then if you and I think it's a very thin line, right? It's a very thin line between doing it the right way, doing it to supplement your life and not as your life.
Got you.
Right? It should be part of your life and not the core or the essence of your life.
Yeah. I mean listening to you now, Hamza, like, again, and just to clear things out, like we're both, or like at least I can talk about myself, like I am in the phase of extreme now because I miss it. I want to go back to that space, but learning how to balance it out. So like before I would be like, no, 11 a.m. is 11 a.m. and then we go back to the discipline and the consistency. Right? So what is important to you? Is it that you go, or is it that you go at that time? Right? And I just started to create that shift and asking myself the question of, okay, so what happens if I don't go to the gym at 11?
100%.
Does that mean I don't go at 11:30, or does that mean I don't go at 12? Or does it mean no, I go regardless of what time? And this is what's starting to work for me now, because usually I would be like, la, khalas, If it crosses 11 and I'm not at the gym, oh my God. Okay,
See,
you know what? I destroy my food on that day.
yeah.
It's
There you go.
licensed to go into
There you go.
complete destruction.
There you go.
But now it's shifting.
It's that all or nothing mentality,
Exactly.
right? And not only all or nothing, sometimes stupidity that comes into it, where you say again, yeah, if I don't go at 11,
خلاص.
then the train is past. Kind of, I
Yeah.
cannot train. I cannot.
Yeah.
If you have a small bite of a biscuit,
Yeah.
yeah, you know what? That's my cue to binge out and eat all the food I can today.
Today
because-
is a license to
Yeah,
kill, right?
Yeah, and the whole diet starts tomorrow mentality, kind of.
Yep.
So
So,
yeah.
Before we get back to this, give me a bit of a background. So, you'd go to mom, you'd tell her I want to look normal.
So I'll tell you a funny story, actually. So yeah, I mean, and you see, now that I know, obviously, that I'm at this age and I've been through it all, I've learned to accept that normal is also someone who's overweight,
Yeah,
right?
doesn't
Normal
exist. Normal
is
doesn't
someone
exist.
who's overweight, underweight. It's all normal, right?
Yeah.
There are no labels that you can assign
And
to
we never
someone.
know
or
the story behind.
You never know the story, exactly. You never really know what people go through. And then again, I think throughout the struggles that I went through, whether it was, on the mental end of things, whether it was eating disorders, whether it was any of that, on the outside, people looked at me as, oh, this guy has his shit together,
Yeah.
like, and excuse my French for that word.
No,
but
we can say shit. It's okay.
yeah, okay. So like, this guy has his shit together, and he's training and he looks like that, and look at him, and he's look at his body and all of that. But on the inside, it was a completely different story, right? As confident, as powerful as Superman as you looked on the outside, the inside was a completely different story, which I would say, I could almost say no one could see, no matter how close you were to that person, no matter, what relationship you had with that person, no one could see that part of you, the vulnerable, you may say weak side of you that really ate at you. And so, yeah, as a child, I mean, I didn't obsess over losing weight. It wasn't like an obsession, but I wanted to do it. And again, I had a couple of failed attempts. I donated to gyms a couple of times. I did a lot of charity work.
Just to clarify, the donation is we pay for a membership of a year and we go for like 2 days.
Yeah. And it was always, again, no, I don't want a 1 month membership.
Yeah,
I
I'll
want
take a year.
I'm going to take a year because, I'm going to. And my mom, bless her, she always supported it every time.
Yeah.
Although she knew I probably wasn't going to go through with it. But as a mom, she did everything she could to. And I credit my mom for a big part of my weight loss journey. The majority, 80, 90%, because as a child, when I started to lose weight, it was her that really managed it. And so the trigger when I finally decided is what you're trying to get to. I remember we had been on vacation in Dubai back then, and this was when I was probably around 14, 15, that age. And I remember back then I still am a football fan, right? And I'm a Man United fan.
Okay.
And you couldn't find these football shirts in Qatar back then. They were all like, you go to Dubai has it, and you find them. And I finally found the Man United shirt that I wanted. Oh my God, this is the shirt that I want, right? And I ran up to it, excited, brought it on. And then I was struck by reality, right? I couldn't find the size that fit me because a small was tiny, a medium was small, a large was also small, an XL fit, but it was down to my knees, sort of thing. And so I left with no Man United t-shirt. Okay. Right? And that's where I, again, for the 1 millionth time, went to my mom and said, yeah, that's it. I want to lose weight. And believe it or not, that's where it started.
So thank you, Man United shirt.
Thank you, Man United. Thank you, Man United shirt. That is, believe it or not, as funny as it is, that is where it started. It was that shirt where I was so bothered. I remember, again, not so much about the shirt itself, but I just couldn't find the size that fit me, right? There was no small and a half, medium and a half. It was either a size, and there was no size. And that's where it started. And again, as a kid of that age, I didn't really know much, and that's why I say it was my mom that kind of made sure I was eating.
Guided you through.
I was on a diet, but yet she was still making sure it wasn't unhealthy, right?
Right.
And it started from there, to be honest. And believe it or not, throughout my entire weight loss journey, I had not entered the gym once.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So I
There's
took
all food management and
food management, which is why they always tell you it's
80% of the
80%,
journey.
and it is right. Food is what in essence.
Yeah, we discover as
Yeah,
we grow.
it's food. It's not the training. It's not all of that. And what I did is, I adopted more of a healthy, a active lifestyle. So if my friends were playing football, I'd play football. If my friends were gonna play volleyball, yeah, sure, I'll join. If my friends were going for a walk, yeah, I'll join you for a walk.
خلاص active all the
Just
way.
active. Anything that kept me moving, as well as my diet, is what eventually led me to lose 49 kilograms.
Okay. Wow.
Right? 49 kilograms. And I did it over a time period of probably 2 years. I remember after 1 year, my mom said, you need to take a break. Just,
Breathe.
don't pig out, but
Yeah.
like just eat a bit normally. Again, if you want to have junk food, you can have junk food sometimes. If you want to have. So I remember I took a good, I don't know whether it was like 2 months, 3 months of, again, eating normally, not going all out. And then as humans, the minute you see results, right, you want more and more and more
Yep.
and more and more, which you then find out is quite a dangerous road to go down.
It's not, but again, it's a dangerous road if it's not managed for the right reasons.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah.
I mean, it's always good to want more.
Yeah.
It's always good to want to be better. It's always good to want to do that. But then you need to know at a certain point where to stop that, right?
Where is enough?
Where is enough and where is, I'm satisfied.
Yeah.
I'm happy. I've come a long way. I've done a lot. And so that's the line that a lot of people do struggle to find eventually. And it's just constant.
So you lose the 49, looking great,
Yeah.
normal,
Yeah.
celebrating with mom and with the friends. So when did the fitness journey come in? I mean, it's really interesting because, like, for me, how this whole thing started, that's pretty interesting. So there was constant, like sort of you build that. Shadi always says this. He says you're very good with. You're very good with rejection. You're very good with negative comments because it doesn't land on you, and it's true. Like it doesn't stick as in stick, right? 200 job applications, 200 rejections. It's okay. Yalla, 201.
Yeah.
Like that's who I am. I don't stop there. But like the interesting part is like when we were in high school, naughty kids, constantly they would have fights, they would have stuff.
Yeah.
And I would always not be called for those fights.
Okay.
Right? And then I'm like, no, why you're never calling me in? I would love to
Love to fight.
be part of the group, which
Love
is
to
defending the
Yeah.
class, defending
Yeah.
the group. And one of them says, Joe,
Yeah.
you're fat. انه sorry we'd love to have you on board بس خيي وين بدنا نحطك
Yeah.
like where are we gonna fit you? And I was like, what? Like, okay,
Yeah.
you know what?
I'll show you.
I'll show you. Right? I'll show you. I'll come back stronger. And I remember it was a similar, like almost a year and a half of a journey. I had an amazing trainer. His name was Muhammad. Like it was the first time that I took gym so seriously. Probably the first time that I actually went and paid for a membership at the gym. And it was my aunt that helped me through that journey. And she would look after my food, similar to mom. And she would push me.
Yeah.
I would go like twice in a day. Like I'd go like on the AM, like 5 before school.
Yeah.
I go hit a bit of cardio and then come back, shower, go to school,
Yeah.
come back home, have a meal, hit
Yeah.
the gym, come back home, go walking every day to the gym, back and forth like 2 times. Khalas. As you said, like adopted an active lifestyle. And then almost a year later, I was actually called in for like, just to be standing there like, Joe, we know you're very peaceful, but we just want you to stand in the front line. Like
You're really needy.
you look big. You look big now. We can have you at the front lines.
Yeah.
Right? Like I was never the guy that would fight, but like I had that in a why wouldn't you call me? But then when they started to call me, I was like, okay, no, I just don't want to be part of this anymore. But it's really good that I'm at least now seen.
Yeah. Yeah.
I wasn't supposed to be invisible at that point, but I was,
Yeah. Yeah.
sort of, you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
mentally speaking.
Yeah.
But then it became part of your life,
Yeah.
which I loved. Like, Anna, for me, I really loved that phase.
Yeah.
And what hit me, Hamza, is I got hit in my health
Mm.
at the
Pinnacle.
peak, at the peak
Yeah.
of my fitness and health
Yeah.
and great look and everything.
Yeah.
That's when I got hit really bad.
And that's tough.
Boom. And I
That's
was
tough.
like, whoa.
Yeah.
Right? That was like almost a journey and a half.
Yeah.
A year and a half of between hospitalization and isolation at home.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I was like, oh my God. Right? And again, like and then you get into that phase of people looking at you and being like, oh, you're back to your old habits, or
Yeah,
back
and
to
then-
that judgments, right?
yeah,
And then I'm
and-
like, okay.
Yeah. And that's that's a very important
Iffy ground.
very important aspect to me, which brings us to something not completely off topic, but weight.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm someone, because I've been through very similar to what you've been through, will never ever comment on anyone's weight. Right.
Yeah.
I see you today, you've gained 20 kilograms, for example, 30, 40, 50 kilograms. I'll never mention it. Because again, I don't know why.
Yep, you don't know the
Again,
story.
even if you don't have a illness, even if you don't have, I think that small word that I think a lot of people allow themselves to
Give
say
themselves
it,
the right, yeah.
like, oh, you've gained weight, man. What happened? That does so much damage. It does so much damage to someone. You could be shredded, right? You could be at 4% body fat, and it would take one person to tell you, man, like you used to be bigger, you used to be smaller, you used to be whatever it is, and
Destroyed.
the damage that does to you, right? And I'd like to to anyone listening, right, state how important it is to, again, no matter how close you are to a person,
Yep.
right? Even if you're a best friend, even if you're a spouse, even if you're whatever it is, right? Never allow yourself to comment on weight, whether it's being underweight, whether it's being overweight, because again, it is so easy to do so much damage to someone mentally.
Yep.
And you might not know it, because not everyone will come and tell you. I mean, actually, most people will not come and say, oh, you shouldn't have commented on my weight, right? They'll just accept it. Yeah.
They'll take it in with a
Yeah.
grain of salt.
Yeah, I
move
gained a
on,
bit of
yeah.
weight. They know they gained weight, right? I know I've gained weight. I don't need you to tell me I've gained weight. I know I've lost weight. I know I've lost muscle. I know whatever it is.
Yep.
I do not need a reminder by you.
Yep. I see me in the mirror every day.
Yeah, exactly. I see myself in the mirror and I say, oh man, I gained so much weight. So you don't need another reminder from whoever
Whoever
it is.
it is, right? And I love this, Hamza, because like many people think that. So again, like and the reason why I'm mentioning like the conversations I have with you, with my friends, with Shadi, with Mo. Shout out to both of them as well. Love you guys. Joel as well. Is like, yeah, like, you know, like I would say, okay, Hamza would take it from me,
Yeah.
right? But without me knowing, when I do that with Hamza, anyone that's around automatically is given permission to do the same,
Yeah, 100%.
right?
100%.
So if I do this to Hamza, I'm like, hey, shoo, man, yalla, good, you're starting to lose weight, masalan,
Yeah,
right? Or
yeah.
indirectly telling you that you've gained weight, yalla, you
Yeah.
need to lose your
I
weight.
mean, look, don't get me wrong. A compliment on someone
Eh,
you know
beautiful.
is trying to lose weight.
Absolutely,
That's
absolutely.
great. If you
Yes.
tell them, "Oh man, great job, you're losing weight,"
Absolutely.
but then, again, it's dangerous territory.
Absolutely,
right?
like, so I would be like, if it's between people, right? Oh, you gained weight, and then yeah, some people might be vulnerable and they would take it fine. Like for me, it doesn't hit me, but like when I look at other people and how it hits them, or other people that come to get coached with me, and like they sincerely get discouraged from the closest people in their life, you know. Like for me, mathalan, like I actually call up Mo, right, and I tell him, Mo, I need you to hold me accountable. Because I love that presence of a person in my life who I know comes from a place of concern and care.
Yeah, and I mean, we've done that, right?
And
I
we
mean,
have done
we've-
that. And when
we've
you were
done
here
that.
as well,
Exactly.
we used to train every day and every Friday together. It's beautiful to have that in your life because you know it's coming from a place of care. But then there is a big risk from that someone and of how and why they're saying it and how it might land on you.
Yeah.
You know, that wouldn't land in a good place.
No,
So,
it wouldn't.
and the damage is done,
Yeah. No, it's done. And that's
right?
where the insecurity, again, that's where I'll sit with you. I still love you and everything, but I'll be
Eh?
constantly
There you go.
fixing my shirt,
There you
fixing
go.
that, because I know,
Exactly.
he's probably going to pick up
Yup.
gained weight.
Yep, there
Right.
you go. Right. So I'm making gonna make sure that I wear the best
Yeah.
stuff that wouldn't show you that I've
Yeah.
gained weight,
Yeah.
right? Or
Yeah.
I have my excuses ready,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? So you became fit. You went into the gym.
Yeah. So
World.
look, that's it. So here's the thing. I
You
wouldn't say,
competed.
yeah.
I need pictures. I want to show people. But send me pictures. But
yeah.
tell me a bit about your.
So, like I told you, I'd lost that weight. And at that point, obviously, I was quite proud. Yeah, I lost weight. Great. And then I lived that shape, let's say, for a couple of years. And then it was my first year of uni, I think, where I started to want to gym. Like I said, before that, I honestly hadn't been into a gym, even when I lost weight. And I remember when I first went into the gym, I had absolutely no idea what I was doing, right? Just go every day, train biceps every day, push-ups every day, chest press that was gym to me.
Yeah.
Like I trained, and even in terms of nutrition, I knew nothing. It's like, oh yeah, protein, you need to eat protein, so I'm gonna go eat KFC,
Chicken.
right? And I think my metabolism back then allowed me to do that.
Yeah.
My metabolism was much better than what it was today, so I could get away with eating KFC as protein and mendi and machboos and
Yeah.
all these kind of stuff. Because like, yeah, carbs, yeah, it's fine. You eat mendi. It's like rice and chicken, right? Yeah. And it started there. Obviously, started to build my body, get into shape, build muscles. But then that's where I say, there's no stop, right?
Yeah.
Because the more you see, the more you want. And then I started to look more into bodybuilding.
Right.
So I'm not doing it as a fitness. Oh, I want to be a bodybuilder, right? I want to be a bodybuilder. Right? I hadn't thought about competing, but it was like, yeah, I want to be a bodybuilder. And I got more invested and more invested and more invested and more invested in. And yeah, and then eventually I was, bulking, shredding, all this kind of stuff. Throughout half of the year I'd be chunky and all of that, which I'd hate, but I'd compromise or I'd sacrifice because like, yeah, it's okay, I'll get big now, and then when I shred, I'm gonna look amazing.
Yeah.
And it was just a constant. It was a loop, right, for a couple of years, and that's where I meant to what we first said, where I'd be like, yeah, so I worked, like I told you, obviously a 9 to 5, even an 8, because it was with a government entity at one point. Wake up at 4:30 a.m. right, every day, because I have to go do my cardio fasted. Because again, that's when you start to get obsessed. Oh no, cardio doesn't count if it's not fasted.
Yeah.
Right. Although okay, I do agree that, and I do say it on here. Fasted cardio does have benefits. Let's put it that way. But when you become that obsessed, and again, the all or nothing.
So either I do it in the AM or I'm never gonna do my cardio.
Either I do it in the AM, and that was the case. If I ever did skip, which happened like once a year or twice a year, I would not do cardio that day. I would probably eat loads of food and all of that. So it would be, doing my cardio, running back home, packing my meals. Obviously, I have to eat 6-7 meals a day, and I can't skip my meals, and I have to eat them at 9 a.m. sharp. 9:05 is too late. And the whole, calorie counting, and it became very obsessive, extremely obsessive, right? Go to work-ish, do some work. But then that's the thing, that was
Your head was in the gym.
My head was in the gym. My head was, I need to eat at this time, I need to go to the gym at this time, I need to train chest today. I trained last week. That was my mind the whole time, right? And again, that's not wrong. Yeah. Don't get me. I'm not saying it's wrong. It's good.
No, we're not saying what's wrong, what's right. We're just saying your journey.
But yeah, it became that to me, and not only at work, right? Friendships, relationships, anything. Right. It was gym first.
So going out on a date with your girlfriend or going to the gym?
No, that was a nightmare. That was a nightmare because if I can't go out because I eat healthy. And that's how And that's how obsessive it became.
And
Where
back then we didn't have enough options.
oh no, no, don't get me
outside.
wrong. I mean, there were always options, right? There were always
the
options.
you want.
But the options I wanted, which was grilled chicken, no dressing, no nothing,
No salt.
yeah, broccoli and white rice, was not what you would find at a restaurant. Although again, there were healthy, clean options, but it became, again, I say it again, all or nothing, right?
Right.
You either do it like bodybuilders do it, or you just don't do it at all. And so yeah, I went through that phase. I have a very close friend, Abdu, and you know I owe Abdu a lot for he taught me a lot about fitness, whether it was nutrition, whether it was training, and he stuck out through the whole thing till today. You know, he's still one of my closest friends.
Hi, Abdul.
And yeah, it was always wanting more, like always wanting more. No social life, no nothing. It was gym, training, food, healthy food, broccoli. I mean, when I say healthy food, chicken, broccoli, and rice, right? Asparagus, all that kind of stuff. And even when I remember at stages of my journey where I was not only single digit body fat, but like 5%. And you've seen me in that. You've seen me in that phase, right? Where it was literally skin on muscle.
Yeah.
Every morning you'd stand there in front of the mirror and you'd be like, no, I'm fat. I need to lose more weight. And you're like, and to another person, it would be ape shit. It would be alien. Like, what the hell are you talking?
What's wrong with you?
What are you talking about, right? Like, look at you. You're like sculpted. But to you, that wasn't the case, right?
Yeah.
And obviously with that came all the body dysmorphia, the eating disorders, all those things that come with it. Because again, no matter how good you look, you're never satisfied. And yeah, it kept going on to wanting to compete, to at one point, I mean, I got certified in personal training quite in the middle of my fitness journey, but I never did it, as I never pursued it. I'd give my friends programs, I'd give my colleagues programs, oh, I'll make you a program, but I never really did it as a job or even charged anyone. And when I finally did pursue it, and don't get me wrong, I love it because again, because I had been through the fitness journey, because I known that it was possible, I really enjoyed helping others. Right. I honestly didn't like. I'm being very honest. The monetary value of it wasn't important to me, but a client coming to me and saying, "Oh, you know what? I feel so good. I lost weight." That was my win.
That was your reward.
That was my win. And again, you meet a lot of people, myself included, when I was younger, who don't believe in themselves, who'll train for a day, train for 2 days a week. Oh, it's not working. Screw it. I'm not going to do it anymore. Right. But throughout the whole journey, that's where you learn all the things like, you know, disciplines, perseverance, commitment, all these things. And that, you know, if you stick it out like anything else in life,
the returns are
amazing.
Absolutely.
And so, yeah, it just kept going on and on and on and on. And there was never a point, honestly speaking, apart from the first 2 years of the fitness journey, there was never a point where I was fully satisfied, or even, let's not say satisfied, content.
Enough.
Not even content, right? There was never a time where I'd be like, yeah, I feel good. I'm good. I'm okay for now. It was just, I want more. It's never enough. I need to do it. And that eventually got very tiring, right? That eventually, like it burnt you out not even very slowly. It burnt you out, but it eventually reached a point where I just didn't enjoy it anymore.
So what broke that cycle?
I mean, what broke it? You know, before I kind of, let's say, left the fitness industry, it was stop it for a while, go back to it. Stop it for a while, go back for it. And you saw that, right?
Spiral.
Yeah. Stop it. No, I don't want to do it anymore. No, I can't not do it anymore because that's me. And this is a very important thing.
That's me.
Not only that's me, people know me as like the fitness guy. right?
People know me as Hamza the.
Yeah, yeah. And it became that, like, if I stop training, people are going to be like, oh, this guy neglected himself. He doesn't train anymore. Like, that was a big part of it.
Right.
That was a big part of it. Like, oh, what are people going to say if I stop training? What are people going to say if they saw me a little chubbier than I usually am? What are people going to say if I completely disappear off the fitness industry? That was a big part of it. And yeah, I mean, because I had enjoyed it at some point in my life, genuinely enjoyed training, genuinely enjoyed, I also knew when I wasn't anymore, right? I was forced to go to the gym. I got to the gym. I couldn't wait till I got out of the gym. I didn't want to talk to anyone in the gym.
It's not your zone anymore.
It wasn't fun anymore. And when that happened, that's where I was like, maybe you don't need it anymore. Maybe not right now. Maybe if you're not enjoying it, if it's adding,
maybe you need to miss it.
Maybe you need to miss it, right? If it's adding more stress to your life than it's adding good,
then it's not helping.
Then it's not helping. And so, like I said, that to finally, there are two aspects to that, right? The first aspect was being able to finally be like, yeah, you know what? It's okay if you don't go to the gym. It's okay if you don't train every day, gradually.
Yeah.
It's okay if you go 3 times a week, not 6 times a week. It's okay if you go to the gym once a day, not twice a day. And then came the harder part, which is an ongoing process, right? And it still goes on today, which was acceptance.
Mm-hmm.
Not acceptance of stopping the gym or not going to the gym anymore, but acceptance of
the results of the decision.
Acceptance of you,
Yeah.
right? Acceptance of, yeah, you know what? I have a little belly and that's fine. I don't have a shredded 6-pack or veins popping up around my body, and that's okay, right? And that's difficult, right? Again, having done it for almost 10 years, up to 10 years of my life, to finally step out of it, it's almost like I had forgotten what normal life was like. Like, yeah, you know what? It's okay to look normal, right? So not gymming meant you looked normal, which was okay. And obviously, throughout that journey, it was a lot of, again, to someone on the outside, they would look at you and be like, yeah, he's fit. But to you, in your mind, I was fat.
Mm-hmm.
I was fat, right?
Yeah.
Whereas, again, to a normal person, they're quite fit even, not only normal.
Yeah.
But again, yeah, it took a lot of adapting, a lot of it's okay, a lot of this self-talk, reading online, speaking to friends, you included, right? Where you eventually were able to kind of, yeah, it's okay. It's okay. Fine. You gain a bit of weight, you lose it, you lose a bit of weight, you gain it. And that's, I won't lie, that's still ongoing, right?
Yeah.
I think it takes a lot of time.
I mean, 10 years again, it's not a short period.
Exactly. It's quite a long period. So that still goes on where you have days where I look a certain way, I don't feel good. I miss when I looked at.
Yeah. It's a
yeah. It's and so yeah, that's something that's, I would say, the hardest part about shifting out of that, let's say, lifestyle or whatever it is, which is acceptance, and not acceptance from others,
to yourself,
but acceptance from within.
I like that. You see, Hamza, like, I think, like, you're absolutely right, because again, like, having the right motives is very critical and very important. Like, now I am at a phase where, as I told you, like, I have changed the question and changed the language.
Yeah.
And like, now for me, I feel home when I'm at the gym. Like, I'm back at that phase. Like, I think my brain reactivated the certain phase in my life, which took a very long time to get reactivated, where I'm at the gym for the right reasons. Like, now I do sweat 3 times a week.
I can vouch for that.
Shout out to
I can vouch for that.
Sweat by BXR at Qatar, and to the amazing people that do the classes over there. And I do my gym like 5 to 6 times a week.
Yeah.
But I don't feel like I'm pushed to go. If I put a plan to go at 9, like, you know me, like, I'm a very early bird.
Yeah.
Like, if I wake up at 5, and I hit the gym, great. I have built that discipline and that consistency. But we have our off days,
Yeah.
right? Where I might have pushed a little bit at night in sweat, and my body needs that extra recovery in the
Yeah.
morning. Okay, so I don't wake up at 5. I wake up at 6.
Yeah.
Get in that car, go to the gym.
Yeah. Right reasons, right?
Eh,
You said it.
there you
Because
go.
if you do it for the right reasons,
Khalas.
fitness is great.
It doesn't feel like it's a burden on your shoulder anymore.
100%.
Like I know I have to walk Ghost every day 2 to 3 times
fitness.
for like an hour.
That's fitness.
Right?
That's fitness.
But now, like in addition to, as you said, the right reasons, I look forward to that walk now because like there's more cardio, right? More.
Yeah, because I remember also, like I said, I think there was a phase where we were kind of training together, and even back then, you as well as myself was doing it for the wrong reasons.
Yep.
It was
Oh,
all
yeah.
about
Oof.
how do I look, right?
Oh my God.
I mean,
Hamza,
look, getting results look-wise is great. It's amazing. That's why essentially everyone does it, but it doesn't need to be the focus, right? Because I do remember, and you struggled a bit back then,
yeah.
where you'd feel great one week, the next week you'd come back to me and you'd say, Hamza, no,
It's not
this is
working."
not working. So you did it for the wrong reason. And
Still the
myself,
same size. My bicep is still the same size.
yeah, and myself included. I mean, I was psycho, man. I was,
Yeah, I remember you had popped your
I torn my chest
your
in
chest, and
front
you
of-
still wanted to come and do legs. And
yeah, I mean, I remember that day because I remember I tore my chest. And that's the thing, my first reaction was, shit, now I can't train.
yeah, I remember your face at that moment.
You remember that? And
I was
again,
spotting you.
like I ignored the pain and
And you kept going.
and I continued to train, right? And even after it, you remember I went into like 2 months of leg training,
Yeah, I remember.
which was great because my legs looked amazing in that period. But it was just, again,
It was for the wrong reasons.
it was for the wrong
That's
reasons.
I think that's the main thing.
and that is where it becomes unhealthy, Joe.
Yeah.
Right?
That is where it becomes a burden.
Fitness can be great. Fitness, the fitness industry can be great for you. Or not even the industry, having a fitness lifestyle can be great. But it can also, so again, when I was saying initially, you look at someone, are like, oh, look at this guy, he's built, he's that. But is he really healthy?
Yeah.
He is not.
Is he going to bed with a smile? Like again, like some
No.
people, they are that addicted, if
Yeah.
I may use the word, right? But they're happy. Like someone who competes and takes steroids and takes stuff, and then I'm like, dude, like, but this might affect your health in the
Yeah,
future.
100%.
He's like, dude, you know what? If I die tomorrow, I don't care. I love it so much. If it takes my life, if this sport takes my life or this lifestyle takes my life, I'm more than happy to give it up because I love it.
Yeah.
Perfect for him.
Yeah. Great.
Right?
Amazing.
But then like someone on my pod, Naif, a friend as well, at the start of his episode, he said he's working out and he has this really amazing schedule for working out. And he's like, I want to age better.
Amazing.
I loved it.
like
I was
that.
like, oh, I love that.
I like that.
Right? And looking back on my life and looking at the different health episodes and health hits that I got throughout my life, I strongly believe I'm still on my feet today because of that life that I had at some point.
No, it builds you, right? I mean, it's part of you.
Builds up your-
There's positives that come from it.
Yeah.
You learn so much through it, whether it's about yourself, whether it's about your body. And I'll tell you something, Joe. Someone once, a very dear friend, again, said something to me once where I was having one of those days where I was like, oh, I gained weight, I feel like shit, I don't know why, no. And she said something to me that sticks with me till today.
Yeah.
She said, Hamza, your body has done so much for you.
Yeah. Be grateful.
Be kind to it.
True.
And I had that kind of like, moment, right? Where I was like, I've abused my body, man. I have abused my body, whether it was through injuries, whether it was through the ridiculous weights that we used to lift,
Yeah.
whether it was, because again, even, when we say eat healthy, the extreme healthy is not healthy. When you're constantly eating the same foods of, let's say, rice and chicken and broccoli,
Yeah.
and cutting out everything else. Oh, I only eat peanut butter and I only eat oats and I only need that. That's not healthy because your body needs much more nutrition than that.
Yeah. Your mental circle as well.
Yeah, and so that's the thing. It's not only mental. Mental is huge.
Yeah.
But although you think you're living a healthy lifestyle, I only eat healthy food.
Yeah.
it's not healthy for your body. It's healthy food, great, but in excess, it's not so healthy.
Everything in excess is
Yeah.
not healthy. No, like, and to be honest, like, this is like one of the things that has helped me recreate that consistency again and reflash that wire
Mm.
of my brain, right? Was like last year when I went to Kilimanjaro before climbing, right? So when Mo was on the podcast and he told me like that we'll climb together, um, I started training like crazy.
Yeah,
Right?
I remember.
Lost weight like crazy.
Yeah.
خلاص, obsession mode on. Went to Kilimanjaro, reached Stella Point, came back down again, losing good weight.
Yeah.
And in that period, coming back, going back to push again in the gym, and then dying off again. And then Mo, on one phone call, he's like, Joe, you push, 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 push. And then you pull, 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 pull.
Yeah.
Ale Joe, discipline, consistency. You don't have an issue in training, you have an issue in rebuilding your consistency. Focus on rebuilding your consistency, focus on the goal of what you want exactly, and then you will see it just happening naturally. And that just like bang, you know, like when literally
Yeah.
someone smacks it on your head, then
Yeah.
you're like a flash of light flowing through my brain. I was like, oh my God, okay, so like let's go back again. Let me see like how can I help my brain to like power up that consistency and that discipline? What do I tell myself when I decide to go to the gym tomorrow? What am I telling? What is the language I'm using for my brain? Okay, I'm going tomorrow at 5 a.m. Okay, so I wake up at 5:15, right? Oh, it's 5:15. Okay, you know what? خلاص, like 15 minutes already passed.
Yeah.
I'll go later, maybe tomorrow. I need to wake up at 5 exactly, right? So I stopped that language. Right?
You know, Joe, in essence, it's like a wire board,
Eh,
right? It's literally like a wire board where you're gonna connect it wrong sometimes, and it's gonna zap or whatever it
Yeah.
is, and it's constantly trying to rewire everything,
there you go.
right? Oh no, that didn't work. So tomorrow I'm gonna try connect it to the other wire. After that, I'm gonna try connecting, and it's literally that, because it is in essence rewiring your mind. It's all in whether
Absolutely.
it's discipline, whether it's purpose, whether it's the reason you do things, whether it's rewiring something that had been gotten so used to thinking in a certain way for so long.
Absolutely.
So yeah, in essence, it's exactly that.
Absolutely. So I honestly don't want to end this, but I also don't want to like keep you because I know you need to make a move.
Yeah.
But like one of the questions we love to ask on the pod is if there is one shot in your life that helped you
Mm.
come to the place that you are at today. I know it's a very difficult question because we have multiple shots and multiple opportunities.
Yeah.
But what would that shot be?
See, the word I'm going to use is a little funny when you say shot.
Yeah.
But it's the struggles. The struggles throughout. Every time I fell, every time I hit rock bottom, every time and that is exactly why I'm someone, honestly, who lives with no regrets. There is nothing where I say, oh, I wish I hadn't done that in my life, or I wish I hadn't gone through that period in my life, or I wish I hadn't gone through that struggle. I am thankful for all those times, because it is whether it was fitness, whether it was relationships, whether it was anything, career, I think you only learn through the failures in life.
If there was one struggle that made you break down and cry, which one would it be?
So since we were talking fitness, I had been prepping for a competition for think near 10 weeks.
Yeah.
I mean, Ghost is crying.
Yeah.
I had prepping for competition for around 10 weeks. So close, right? I think I had 4 weeks left. And obviously I was pushing like no tomorrow. I was punishing my body. I did not know where to stop. It was just on and on and on and on and on. And that's where I got into binge eating.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's where I got into binge eating. I think because I had been so strict, and competition strict is not normal strict,
I know,
right? Competition
I see.
strict is another level of strict.
I see my friends. Yeah.
And I started, I think it was the first time I ever binge ate, where it was like, I don't know, something ridiculous, like 10,000 calories. And
What did you have?
I had everything. I had burgers, I had donuts.
Tell me, Lala, tell
had
me exactly what did you have.
Burgers, donuts, pizza, ice cream, chocolate.
In one go.
Yeah, like in 30 minutes I had consumed what what an average human being consumes in like 10 days. Right? And that happened. And obviously it's very unhealthy. Like you eat to a point where you can't breathe anymore. You are so bloated you can't move. So it happened first day. Okay, fine. I
This is 3 weeks away from the competition.
3-4 weeks away from the competition. And then obviously the day after you wake up quite bloated and watery and so many things. And I saw that and I was devastated. Like, oh my God, all the work I've done had gone to waste. And in essence, that wasn't really it. I mean, you were bloated. If you stopped today, tomorrow would be fine.
Yeah.
But that triggered, I messed up. I might as well keep messing up. And it was binge eating day in, day out. Day in, day out. And I think at the time, again, in a matter of like, I don't know, 2 weeks, I had gained like, I mean, obviously not fat, but water, sodium, everything. I had gained up to 12 kilograms in 2 weeks.
Oh my God.
Right? Obviously, again, not fat, but water retention.
Yeah.
My face was like a freaking marshmallow, you know?
Wow. Okay.
And I remember at one day I did break down. And I was like, I blamed myself for failing. Right? I blamed myself for failing. You are a failure. You couldn't hold out, whatever, 16 weeks. I think it was a 16-week prep. You couldn't hold out a 16-week prep. And I just kept punishing myself for it. It literally became punishing myself for it non-stop. And the reason I mentioned this specific scenario is this is where I started to, maybe I don't love fitness. This is where it started. Obviously, it went on for a couple of years after it, but that was the first time in so many years where...
The industry, you mean? What it does to people.
Not, again, look, I can't blame the industry.
Right.
Because the industry has its good, has its bads. The lifestyle, some people do a great job at it. You know, there are brilliant athletes, personal trainers, people.
And they love it.
And they love it. And it's great, right? But it's your relationship with it. What you make your relationship with it. And that was, again, I blamed myself so hard for failing, so hard for a couple of months that eventually I started to step back, look at life more. And that's where I started to think, maybe there is more to life, right? Maybe there is more to life than your abs or your veins or your whatever it was.
Yeah.
And that was the first time, honestly, that was the first time I'd had that thought in years where I was like, maybe there's more to life. Not everything is the gym. Not everything is... A gym should be part of your life, not your life.
Yeah.
I built everything around the gym, whether it was family...
For you, again, we're talking
for,
like for
for,
Hamza.
for me
Hamza,
specifically,
for
don't get me
Hamza,
wrong, because as I said, by no means, and again, fitness had... there was so much good that it did for me. You know, it was my best friend throughout. It was always there for me. it helped me achieve so much. So
Yeah.
fitness can be great, but can also be very harmful to you. And that goes back to you.
Right.
What you make it,
So how we build that relationship.
how you build that relationship.
All right. Amazing. Okay. I love this. Okay. So Hamza, you're flying out tomorrow.
I am back to Dubai tomorrow.
Thank you for making time for this
No worries.
today.
No worries.
I think
Happy to be here.
I think what was spoken today is an untold story for many,
Yeah.
right? If I will just say one last thing before we end this, it's maybe for the people to be a bit more aware about the damage or the relief their words can do
Yeah.
to the people around them.
And your own words.
And your own words to yourself as
Your
well.
own words.
Absolutely. And to be kind. I think that's kind to ourselves and kind to others.
Considerate.
Yeah.
Not only kind, but considerate, right?
Considerate, absolutely. You never know.
You never
the
know
story.
whatever anyone's going through. And I think one thing I want to say is don't keep it in. Speak to someone, speak to a friend, speak
Yeah.
to again, whether it's a therapist, a friend, whatever it is. Don't keep it in, because the longer you keep it in, the longer you fight yourself, the longer you convince yourself, I shouldn't say anything.
Yeah.
That's where you eventually crack, where
Absolutely.
you just crack,
And it goes in the other
Yeah.
direction.
right? It builds up, it piles up, it piles up, it piles up, and eventually that's how you fall out of, again, similar to a relationship, right?
You fall out of love.
Yeah, you fall out of love, whether it's the gym, whether it's a person, whether
It
it's
becomes toxic.
when it builds up and it builds up and it builds up, and you shut it down, you quiet it, you put it aside. Again, you don't get rid of it, you just numb it. You numb it. Eventually you reach a point where I'm done. I
Yeah.
can no longer do this. So yeah, my advice would be, if you do find yourself getting very obsessive about fitness, about the way you look, and again, I'm not saying interested or doing it with a passion, but obsessive. If you do find yourself getting obsessed with it, take a step back and think. So I'm not saying leave it. Maybe that's what you want to do,
Yeah.
right? Some people love doing that. But
Live for it. Yeah.
some people live for it. But take a step back and kind of think for a second. Is this really
What I want.
what I want to do? And am I doing it for the right reasons?
Reclarify your goals.
Yeah.
Amazing. Thank you, Hamza. Wishing you a safe flight
Thank you.
tomorrow. Can't wait to see you back, bro. Inshallah, we host you next time
Yeah.
for another series and adventures and talk. Thank you, Ghost, for being with us as well today, keeping us company.
Ghost was
So,
a crucial part of this.
for everyone who was listening to us and not watching us, I advise you to get on the YouTube channel and watch Ghost. For all of those that are watching us, you've finally seen Ghost if you didn't see him before on our Instagram page. So I'd like to thank everyone again for your time, hoping that this episode today and Hamza's shot in his life has inspired, given many of you something to think about in a better way and a more productive way and a more balanced way, if I may put it that way. And looking forward to seeing you in more episodes to come. Don't forget to click the subscribe button and the follow button. And see you soon on My Life Map podcast. Have an amazing evening, everybody.